Okay, so we have the Electro-Harmonix Polyphonic Octave Generator, the second version. That's obviously meant to be a guitar pedal, but we're going to run my Etherwave plus Theremin through this to see what kind of sounds we can get when it has a theremin input. Now I also have on the screen here a spectral analyzer, which might be useful for you to see how it changes the signal. If not, it's just cool. And let's take a look at the unit. It's got two sections. One is a section that allows you to add the octaves, either one octave down, two octaves down, one octave up, two octaves up. And you can also change the amount of dry signal that's being added to this as well. So you can basically add all different kinds of levels of these octaves to create a sound. And I found that when everything is working together here, it kind of has a kind of organ-like effect that it adds to the theremin, especially for low tones. The other side is an effects section that allows you to alter the attack on the octaves. There's a low-pass filter section that allows you to kick in a Q function with 4 different resonance settings. And then there's a detune function that slightly detunes the signals in the octaves so that it gives a kind of chorus-like effect. So let's go and first start just with the sound of the dry signal. All right. Now I'm using a breath controller here, so if you hear me breathing hard, it's because I need to keep one hand free for what I'm doing. So let's just listen to the dry signal. And you can see I have that set halfway here. If I want to kick the whole dry signal in. And let's add just a portion of the octave above to that. Now I brought in an octave down. Now let's bring in the full octave down. And now let's try a little bit of 2 octave down with the full dry signal. And full amount of 2 octaves. I really like the sound of the octave below on this thing. Of course, if you go too low, you're not going to get any effect, especially if you have There's module installed where you can go low anyway. But it's different just going low and having the ability to add all these different octave combinations together. So it really has a best effect when you're not playing really, really low down, but when you're playing in the middle where you can get the octaves going to your full effect. All right, let's try now dry signal. And remember, dry signal with a little bit of 1 octave up. Full amount. And now we can bring in 2 octaves above. And a full amount of 2 octaves. And then I can kind of just create some kind of mix that I like of all of this stuff together. I think it could be useful. I mean, it's not for playing purely melodic lines. It's more for when you want to do effect stuff. But even the way it is right now, I can definitely see using it to enhance a bass line on something, or even be uh, a, a bass kind of a melodic uh, unit that stands in and of itself. So I'm not unhappy with it. I think the low tones are more usable than the high tones, to be honest, but I got it used, so it didn't really cost that much compared to a new one, which is, I think, over $300. So I don't know that I'd want to pay $300 for this effect, but um, it definitely could be useful. And I also don't know how this might be able to be used with my modular and other things, where it could very well have a much greater use. Now on the other end, I can say kick in a let's see what if we have the signal without the and I mean, you can hear how that chorus kind of changes it slightly. When I add all the other stuff in with the chorus, you can hear it, but there's so much going on that it's a little difficult. And if I take it off, it's a little hard to hear with all the other stuff going on. Now, of course, I can alter the low-pass filter setting. Obviously, it's a low-pass filter, so I can cut the highs, basically, or bring them all back in. And then when the attack function is all on, that and that's kind of hard to hear. You kind of have to feel that one to know what's going on. I think that's going to be more useful as a guitar effect. But that's the basic unit. Is it really that useful for a theremin? You'll have to decide. I'm hoping I can use it in many other ways. And if worst comes to worst, my son, who's a guitar player, gets it. So I hope you enjoyed that little demonstration.